right. Yeah, thanks for joining the Siebel Friday in May 2025. And that means we're looking, of course, we're starting with the 25.5 Siebel update, which is out for quite some time. And some of you have told me you already downloaded it, starting to look at it. This is a bug fix only release, so there's not much new things in there, except, of course, take the release notes seriously and read through the bug fixes, the documentation updates in Bookshelf. And the Tomcat's the same as 25.4. So if you're looking for a new Tomcat version, that's 25.5 doesn't have a newer one, the 9099. And if you're really eagle-eyed, you see the one change that stands out on the screenshot. But no, I'm not sure if anyone uses Redwood, but that bar, that colorful bar is new. That's is now a background image and not a single color. So that is something that happened. Me using Redwood a little bit more because of training, and yeah, kind of noticed that. So instead of talking about 25.5, which is now finished, so there's nothing more to say, I think it's good to have a look back at the year starting 25.1 and 2, because people are now updating, let's say, from 23, 24 or earlier to 25.5. And 25.5, of course, is everything from previous releases, and including, for example, sometimes confusing people who download Siebel, where are the installers? For example, where's the installer for DSA? And that is now bundled in one single installer. So, which means you go to Oracle support. So that's why it's blurred out. I cannot show it. I go to Oracle support. You go to the Siebel version you're looking for. And for your operating system, like Microsoft Windows has the most, you have a collection of zip files. And 25.1 Oracle started to put everything in there. So you basically download the first zip file, and there's a table of content there, a media list. And from that first file, you know what's in the other files. So DSA, I know already it's file number 6 on Windows. And then you have file number 2 and 3, which you need for the base installers. And you have the repositories and you have the other installers, everything in one place. And there is also the mobile source code for the mobile framework, the React Native source code. If you want to customize your container app for Siebel mobile applications, that is now shipped with Siebel tools. So in 25.2 and later. So if you look into your Siebel tools folder, you find a mobile zip, which is the, code for developers. It makes sense to put that in Siebel tools, I guess.
A quick addendum, if I may, Alex.
Yeah, sure, Brian, please.
Just on the if you're trying to figure out what's in what thing, there is a README text file, as you mentioned, that I think is what's there, that tells you what's in each zip file. It's also in the monthly update guide, quite close to the top, and it's there as well. So, and just FYI.
Yeah. So the best thing is to start with the very small first zip file, the one of 12, or what's the name, and then in that file you find a text file which has the content of the other files. And not that kind you don't shuffle it like randomly. It's mostly the same every month. Oh yeah, okay. Good to have you, Brian. Thanks for joining.
Sure. Of course.
Okay, and then there was, speaking of operating systems, you will not find installers for HP UX and Solaris starting with 25.5, because as discussed last month, the 25.4 is the terminal release for those operating systems with guidance from Oracle to migrate to other operating systems, preferably Linux, I guess, because it's very Unix-ish. So I have no exposure to customers running on either operating system. But does anybody in the room have any
We
exposure?
migrated off of Solaris probably about 4 years ago.
Okay, 4 years ago you already migrated off
Yeah,
to Linux.
yeah, to Linux.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing it. So that's also interesting because when you look at the list of installers, it's shrunk with 25.5. There's two operating systems less in the list. So it's just for now it's Windows, Linux, and AIX is still there.
Just a comment, we have no active plans to change that. We were forced with HPUX and Solaris for the reasons stated on the slide.
Mhm.
We simply can't support, and we, even though there's December 2025 by HP, we have to cut it off because of our 9-month rule now so that we can still provide hot fixes, POCs
Yeah.
until then. And similarly with Solaris, that one just won't run. We can't run Java 21 on Solaris, and people need to get on Java 21, which will be released soon, by the way.
Okay. Uh, yeah, cough here is some new coffee is coming. Okay, interesting. Yeah, and then like Java, so Siebel brings its own Java, the Java runtime for actually I don't know when that started really, but it's definitely before IP17. There's often questions in the Siebel forums that what version of Java do I have to install for Siebel? And I always point people to in the installer when Siebel is installed, you have the JRE folder. So whatever JRE Siebel needs, it brings its own, right? I hope I'm saying that correctly, technically. Um,
Yes.
so you don't need to install any JRE or JDK on the machine. You did have to install a Oracle 32-bit client if you run Siebel on Oracle. And of course, you have to have a ODBC client for SQL Server and stuff. And with the Oracle client, actually since 25.2, Oracle brings its own client. Sorry, Siebel. Siebel brings its own Oracle client uh, in a directory. You can see that directory name in that screenshot here, Oracle DB client in any Siebel installation folder in SES. And even Siebel Tools brings its own. So the correct version of the Oracle DB client is shipped with Siebel. So you don't have to install any other version of that Oracle client anymore. And that is, of course, the Oracle client. And there's also another thing that is the ODBC driver that is used for example, the command line utilities. A lot of them are used in migration or post-install database update. They use the ODBC connection. And that ODBC driver is now also Oracle and no longer the Merant driver or Data Direct. So I think this is interchangeably the name. And so what happens during an installation, an update installation from any version prior to 25.2 to higher, like 25.5, there is a process that is in the installer that migrates to the new Oracle ODBC driver. And so it migrates, you can see on the screenshot that it basically renames the old ODBC data source and creates a new one with the new driver. And there are a few things here and there that I found with customers that when you have multiple Siebel installations on the same machine, like Siebel Tools on a dev box, you have Siebel Tools, you have Siebel Server, you might have an AI, then that happens 3 times. And most people start with the Siebel Server, the SES. And then, for example, the post-install database does not work properly because um, it basically sorry, I said that the wrong way around. So they finish updating, and for example, Siebel Tools last, And then they start post-install database update because they run it manually. Many people do. And it doesn't work because in the path environment variable now has 3 entries for that Oracle DB client. And this SES, if you put SES on top of the path or first thing in the path, then it starts working again. So that's something we noticed with a lot of customers struggling with that migration. If you have multiple Siebel homes on the same box, they all get updated, and the path environment variable gets updated every time. So you have to watch out for that path environment variable. Any other experiences with that migration? Yeah,
Yeah, I had all types of troubles with the post install.
the post
But
install.
yeah, because I was going from 2410 to 25.5.
Mhm.
And
There's one thing about post install. Yeah, I just remember now. The Oracle client or the ODBC driver, more exactly, it requires an exact case of the username. So in most Oracle databases, for example, the table owner and admin are uppercase, the username. And if you have in your setup ini file, if you happen to put it in lowercase, it worked in the previous client, the previous driver, but the Oracle driver is very sensitive to case. So
yeah, found that out with a ticket.
yeah,
Which we're gonna fix. It actually should always be in caps, but we're just gonna fix it so
yeah.
that it'll take care of it. But it is an odd thing because in an object defined, at least without quotes around it, in uppercase or lowercase, any Oracle object is supposed to be case insensitive. So we can't really figure out why it's happening.
Okay.
Like at the database level, it has nothing to do with us, right? If you type select star from sorgxt and whether you capitalize it or not, you get a
Yeah,
result, right?
that's right.
And the same applies to usernames. I mean, every object type in the Oracle database has the same kind of basic
But
features. So
it's the ODBC driver that is sensitive, right? It's
yeah, but it doesn't really make sense. The
no,
ODC driver should just be passing it to the database for
right. Yeah,
authentication,
it's
and so
weird.
I don't know. We're a little bit confused as to why it's happening, but we're just going to force it to uppercase because that seems to always work.
Yeah, and many people found out the hard way that it's
I imagine so.
post-install database setup. You know, everybody types lowercase because it's one less one less click, right? One less key. And so that stopped work. If you have any scripts, for example, if people have scripts prepared with ODBC data source used, and then the lowercase username kills it. Yeah, but good to hear that's being worked on. Yeah.
Yeah, so with my issue is on all the previous releases, I would always set the environment so post install would run because it never ran. And I did it this time. I think that might be what's causing my concerns is that I have one more environment I haven't touched with. I got the post install to work without doing anything on a Windows environment.
Uh-huh.
It
Okay.
didn't ask me to, because you don't set the environment on the Windows environment, but you have to Linux.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Siebel, right? The Siebel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll let you know next
Mhm.
time when I do my next environment.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, here's a screenshot of that new folder you find after updating to anything higher than 25.1. You find that Oracle DB client folder. There's also a link to that same folder that appears here, at least on Windows. And again, that is added to the path environment variable in the sequence of you running the update. So if you have multiple updates on the same machine, you might want to adjust the path variable after that.
Hey, Alex, I'm curious, why would you have multiple installations on the same machine?
Uh,
Other than just testing something, maybe.
well, like multiple AIs you have for different REST.
Oh, I see. Okay. So yeah, if
Yeah.
you, yeah. Okay.
And the odd Siebel tools separate because it's old school style and it doesn't mess up your
Oh.
folder names.
Well, but if you install them, if you install tools and even the dedicated web client just for testing only, of course, and your Siebel servers, etc., in one path, you only get one copy of each binary.
That's true, yeah.
So it doesn't. So each DLL normally, if you had installed all those things in the past, you would have had 4 copies of every DLL.
Yes.
Now you would under this, you'd only have one. So I mean, I understand why you do it. It's just tradition, right? But
Yeah. And
it does save space. I've started doing that for my own playgrounds just
yeah.
because I like to keep 7 or 8 different versions at a time, and I just don't have the disk space on my laptop to do it otherwise.
Oh, yeah, sure. That's what the new architecture is for, yeah. But also you have the Kafka sidecar, for example.
Right. That's unavoidable. That's
yeah.
another thing. Although I wish we would fix that, but that's
yeah. You actually as it grows by years, you get a lot of those AIs because you start using OAuth for REST, and you have the basic auth still, and for each REST endpoint you need a separate AI. So that was something we discussed a few years ago, and
I agree. What I'm saying is I'd like it to be possible to put them into a single install. So I could just say, I'm going to want a Kafka one as well. And it just does it in one step. So you don't have to install multiple times. Just choose what you want. And, so yeah, the Kafka AI, I don't remember. There's another one somewhere that we need. I don't remember what it is now, but, yeah, et cetera. It just seems like to at least have that option would be nice. So you don't have to keep doing so many installs to set up a given server.
It's a microservices thing, and versus microservices versus monolith on a to a certain degree. Okay.
Hey, Brian, do you have a white paper on what you're doing for that? Because I'm still one of the traditionalists where I put tools and clients on the server.
Yeah, I do as well. But what do you mean by that? A white paper?
Well, I have separate directories for each of them still.
Oh, just when you run, I mean, it's just the documentation for installation is, if you just check all the boxes, you get everything in one folder structure. That's it.
During install, you can't do it during an update. You have to do a fresh install, right?
Well, but technically, no. You could do it during an update, I think.
Could you add stuff?
Because I think there's a way to add them, but I'm not 100% sure about that.
I think, I might be mistaken, but once you have run the update and run the installer again,
but you can pick the same
maintenance. It goes into maintenance mode, and you can add stuff.
Well, yeah. But you could you can add stuff the second time. So you could run something, say an update against your
tools to the
Siebel server folder, for example, and then rerun that same installer and pick that home, and it will let you add tools and client.
Yeah. So
same as you can add a new language, you just pick the same path that you
you pick
already
the path
had.
And
the same home folder or home whatever, Oracle home.
So it should work also on an existing installation.
Right. Now that you would have to move over your configuration from your old tools and your old client, if you did want to combine them. But I mean, given tools and client are, still use INI files, that's easy, right? Like it's not, there's a whole lot of setup you have to do there.
Yeah. Okay.
So where does I was looking into folders, and then usually you find the TNS name type stuff in the network admin. I don't, and I'm trying to find out because we use an LDAP for all our.
Angelos, you need to mute. Angelos, you need to mute.
Yeah. There's a. Oops. I have an echo now.
Alex, can you mute him?
I mute. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, sorry for that. Yeah, Nick, there's in the Oracle DB client, there's the network/admin folder where you copy all your existing TNS names and other Oracle specific files like a wallet.
That didn't seem to happen. I thought it did it automatically.
I think it does, but I saw many occasions you have to manually copy it over.
I don't. Hey, Nick, sorry. And Alex, I know that I have a question that came in from one of our expert services folks about using the LDAP connectivity as well. So I'm looking into that right now, or to use LDAP instead of TNS names. So if I find anything out, I'll pass that along.
Yeah. And also I found one of my clients uses, we started using the TNS_admin environment variable. Not sure you know about that, but let me just type it. So you set TNS admin, and that, for example, goes to well, home OPC config to a folder on other for Linux. That example is for Linux, of course. And that means any Oracle software, well, not sure if it's technically 100% correct, but definitely the Oracle client honors that variable, the environment variable, and uses that as the admin folder where it looks up the TNS names or raw file and other stuff. And for that client, when we ran the update, the installer actually said, "Oh, you have TNS admin variable set, so I'm going to use that." So that was cool.
Yeah, I found that out with trying to get my Oracle wallet to work on one of my servers.
Yeah, and that's a very useful variable because then you can even in the SMC in the security profile, you can just use the alias of your Siebel data source, and you don't have to, have host names or port numbers in there. So it's very clean once you start using that. And the cloud environments, the Siebel Cloud Manager and the container-based Siebel, they all use that variable. So it's something you might want to look into. It makes life easier. You don't have multiple places where you have to store your Oracle admin stuff. I'm not an Oracle DBA, so I might get things a little bit wrong here, but it's very useful. At least I found it to be very useful. Speaking of databases, so there's, of course, okay, now I have to get rid of that. The 23 AI support, which is also since 25.2. So that's very fresh. So have you heard of anybody migrating already to Oracle 23 AI or upgrading? Or are you planning to?
Not here
I'm curious
yet.
about that too.
Yeah.
I depends on what our DBAs want to do.
Yeah, but if you have that kind of DBA who's cutting edge and wants to get rid of 19C, then it's probably a good time to update Siebel. So they can go ahead with the upgrade. But of course, there's a lot more to that because 23 AI is a real beast and in a positive way. So it can do a lot of things and introduces a lot of opportunities to grow Siebel into, well, the AI world that we are just beginning to live in.
Yeah. Alex, if I may add a quick comment. The fact that Oracle 23 AI has like the vector storage and so on, does not mean Siebel can immediately do anything with it.
Yeah, you have to customize around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we have to, but I'm saying once we can support 23 AI, then it gives us the option to do that within Siebel. So, moving to 23 AI will not automatically make Siebel do something better other than any performance or other improvements. So I just want to make sure everyone understands that because I've just had conversations with partners and customers who've said, "Oh, that's great. I can start using the vectors in Siebel." No, you can't. We don't have a vector type in the repository.
Yeah.
So.
So you can customize your way around that.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, it's very fresh, and even I can imagine inside Oracle there are projects underway to use those features for Siebel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, there are. The trick is, of course, we do have MS SQL customers as well.
Mhm.
And we like to keep our things, even though we're Oracle, we do like to keep things, well, for that matter, DB2, lesser cases,
Mhm.
fewer cases. Um, so we'll see how that goes. But we
Yeah.
certainly we currently have several different sort of research streams on this inside the Siebel development org that are going on to figure out how we can leverage all these new capabilities that are available at the database level.
Yeah, it's a lot of cool stuff here, but there's not enough time for for this call. So I was putting together for a customer who is preparing to update. So they are on a relatively old version, Siebel 2020. So they have, I say, okay, you have to span 5 years. So that's a lot. And so they were asking where should we start, right? And so the first thing you should go to is, of course, that's a no-brainer for everybody in the room here, is to go to Siebel Bookshelf. And there's one bookshelf version for every month. So in theory, you have to go to 60 different bookshelves for 5 years and download all the guides that have been revised in that version and look up the what's new chapter. So that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years. And I compile that information into my videos. But it's a starting point, as always. You go to the latest bookshelf, check out the revised documents, the revised guides, and check out the what's new chapter in those guides. I think that's something that when you have relatively few numbers of releases to jump over, it can be done in half an hour. It's not much work. If you have 5 years, of course, you need a little bit more effort. Then there are the release notes blurred out because not publicly available. The release notes, which you also must consume if you have a lot of years to span, you must consume all these release notes, probably starting from the top down, because some things are, of course, deprecated already in the old release notes or no longer matter. That's the better term. And as I mentioned, I put this kind of information that's publicly available. I put in a monthly update video, which I'm sure most of you watch on a regular basis. And so there's the Siebel Hub YouTube channel where we publish those videos for free. And of course, you still have to watch like 5 years worth of videos, that customer with Siebel 2020. So there's nothing kind of preventing you or speeding up the process of learning what has happened in the past 5 years, if it's really 5 years. Watch a lot of videos, read a lot of bookshelf and release notes. And on the Siebel Hub, I might want to follow that link here. Can I follow that? No, I can't. Sorry. Can't follow the link. Okay. So, well, on the Siebel Hub, we have a page dedicated to the continuous update stream from Oracle, and it has links to all the videos for any relevant update that we deemed relevant enough to have an entry in those tables. And that starts with 22. I started that in 22. So it's now already quite a big list of changes, and it's impressive to see because you might miss the big picture when you see, okay, there's nothing in 25.5, nothing's happening with Siebel. But if you look at 1 year worth of information, that's already a lot. If you look 1 year back, or even a few months sometimes. And if you look 5 years back, that's a ton of information that you need to digest. So that page is surely helpful in any research, and it's free, right? It's on the Siebel Hub, and we use it as a base for our continuous learning. Of course, we have the Siebel training. We have the best Siebel training on the Siebel Hub, and of course now with Oracle University as well, as we have already announced. And our training is always up to date because of the information we gather every month. And not always do we update the videos. We cannot record 150 hours of videos every month, but we do short updates, or we add an update to that page. And so that's why we can say it's always up to date. So that's how it works. And yeah, Richard and I are super happy that we are now partnering with Oracle University to bring that curriculum to the Siebel customers worldwide.
So is Oracle.
Yeah, I hope it works out fine. I have not much insight into how many customers are already watching it, but I'm sure they do. And so that's for the Siebel Hub. It's a channel, another channel. You can still go to the Siebel Hub, for example, if you want to use module by module. Which on university you get a single subscription for everything. So that depends on what, if you are already have that Oracle Cloud subscription, you have the Siebel training. And of course, training never stops. So you might have seen on LinkedIn or other channels that I have a new training out. It's not actually new. It's just a training that is very dear to my heart. It's a Siebel Open UI training. And, there's a book out there which is 10 years old and still valid in most cases for the modern Siebel. And I was always dreaming of putting together a masterclass with everything about Siebel Open UI. So we have that training out there. It's available. But now I have remastered the videos, re-recorded them for Siebel 25, and it comes out as 21 hours of remastered video. So if you have, let's say you have that new hire who needs a ramp up on Siebel Open UI, or yourself, you always wanted to learn Open UI from the source, and now's the chance. We have super offers on the Siebel Hub to get this masterclass video training. And I'm starting to celebrate 30 years of Siebel. We're celebrating with a live online training starting on June 17th, going for 7 weeks, not with three sessions per week. So you have time enough for your job, for your day job. So yeah, Open UI is, as I learned during remastering all those lessons, I learned that Siebel has moved on, OpenUI has moved on slightly, and definitely JavaScript has moved on. So all these examples that we do are modern ECMA 20 plus JavaScript, fully remodeled JavaScript. So you never see a var again, right? And
Alex, while we're on this OpenUI note,
mhm.
Brian, can you comment anything about these Oracle Jet components coming to Siebel? I mean, like, how significant change would it be to the way how we build OpenUI?
I think the difference is that it would be more around building your own UI, leveraging the open whatever it is called, whatever we're calling it now.
Oracle Jet, yeah.
Yeah, so it's an alternative, I'd say, to use Jet versus using a tool, the normal, tools, web tools approach to configuration. I think that's the intent, but I'll be honest, I'm probably not the best person to ask right
Okay.
now.
All
But I
right.
think that's the fundamental difference.
Because still, like, for telecom at least, right? For the digital business experience product, you are building like standard screens as well, right? With this Oracle Jet stuff.
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's kind of
Okay. All right,
interesting.
cool.
I mean, no, it's okay. I'm just saying so telecom, for an example, is effectively building their product on top of Siebel, right? So that'll be it's not going to be sort of Siebel telecommunications, which we already have, or Siebel communications, which we already have as a product, but rather a different product that leverages Siebel underneath. And so I think they are using OJet, but I don't know how that kind of fits in. So if you send a note to me, I'll find someone who can speak to it intelligently.
Okay.
I think we'll talk to Ganesh. I think he would.
Yeah,
help us.
Ganesh should be the right person.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Great. So yeah. So full disclosure, the OpenUI Masterclass does not include Oracle Chat. So it's your run-of-the-mill OpenUI as of 25.5. Yeah, 30 years of Siebel, that kind of prompted me to, well, expand the library of case studies for that course a little bit to 30. So you will see some evergreens, and I'm just flipping through some screenshots here. So you can see we use Redwood, we use Aurora. We use both most of the time to show how OpenUI is really open. So you do one change and it works fine in both themes or even in other themes. And so here we have the conditional highlighting. So you learn your share about physical rendering, using native HTML, for example, to have a dialogue, not just jQuery dialogue, which is nice, of course, but HTML has also come a long ways. So there's now native dialogue capabilities like modals. Yeah, there's custom checkboxes, another custom dialogue, an entire theme. It's hideous, of course, because the aliens invaded here. And then, for example, the more sophisticated stuff like moving things around in Siebel, like moving screens, rearranging screens via drag and drop, having a new approach at the toolbar, a pop-up menu, having a look at data visualization where Siebel has so much. I don't want to use the word legacy because it has a negative connotation since a while, but the Siebel chart applets, they're sure legendary. And this is a chart applet, but it's with a custom D3 renderer because it kind of aggregates the data at a different level, which standard chart applets did not provide. And that provides us with a level of cleanness and level of data accessibility where the simple chart applet comes back to life maybe. So we have counters, 16 contacts for that account. D3 is included with Siebel, so I explored a little bit what you can do with D3. I'm still a D3 rookie after 16 years of D3, but I managed to pull off this hierarchical diagram of a customer, multiple levels down. Tile visualization is great. It's built in. You can easily put a custom renderer on top and visualize the data, or spice up those tiles a little bit. Custom login page, a real fresh approach to the login page if you still have a login page these days, or totally custom renderers using Shoelace, using libraries like we use a simple library for the demos, Shoelace. It's not the equivalent of Vue.js or React, but you get the general idea. For bigger views as well. Portlets, going into the integration realm. Even I found out that Redwood looks great in portlet style, portlet mode. That's really looking very clean. So this is, by the way, this is a smart script running in a Siebel portlet in an external web app. So which it's a really great use of Siebel to put Siebel stuff, very complex Siebel stuff like smart scripts or task-based UI, put that inside another application, add a little bit of style so it looks clean and even adopts the style of the parent. The good old Google Maps, always a winner there. Or address search, also evergreen. That's the DSA integration. mobile, another custom rendering of records in a list applet. Yeah, so here we are. So
do you have, Alex, the use case when you do Redwood, but with the the view tabs in the middle of the screen, not just this like menu on the hamburger menu, but like
you
classical? Yeah.
Well, Redwood out of the box, going back here.
I saw like one of your posts, a long time ago, that technically you can do that.
With a little bit of effort, you can have what is in the side menu hidden away from the user. You can just unhide and display horizontally.
Okay.
Yeah, that can be done.
So is it like one of the 30 use cases that you demonstrate or not?
No, it's not.
31st.
It's not.
Okay, it's 31st. Okay, all right.
And the reason for that is that, well, maybe it will be part of the standard Siebel.
Okay.
So you remember discussions on the applications unlimited days. There was the chant, bring back the tabs.
Yeah.
And Oracle has obviously listened.
Okay.
And so the side menu option, the Redwood side menu is somewhat controversial, because depending on who you talk to at Oracle, there shouldn't be a side menu even, because there's Ask Oracle.
Redwood design. Yeah. Okay.
But the side menu appears for some customers, they see it, and some not. And I'm not. Yeah, Brian, stop me if I'm saying anything, but anything wrong here, or what I shouldn't say. But the reason why some customers see the side menu and some not is actually they have test automation enabled or not. So if you have test automation enabled, or have a vanilla Siebel installation, which I use for my training, then you have a side menu. And so if you turn off test automation, the side menu disappears. Yeah, which is what happens. I don't know why.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I suspect it's because we need it in order to actually simulate,
you need some clickable thing for the test automation.
I suspect it is.
Yeah,
I'll see if I can find out. Just
but
now I'm curious.
Again, the common concern now is that many customers want to adopt Redwood if it had tabs.
Yeah.
And so I understand that Oracle is working on this. So I think that's as much as I can say here in the public recording.
Yeah. I've passed it along to the Redwood team. I don't know. But I mean, the test automation thing's kind of interesting. I don't know why. I assume it's because we need something to click on. That's all,
Yeah. And it's very clear from a end user standpoint that if you go from Aurora, which most users use with tabs like this, and if you go to Redwood, which doesn't even have a side menu officially, that's a very hard migration for, imagine, thousands of users losing the ability to navigate because, well, they don't know what to do, or unless they are trained, and then they refuse to use a totally different navigation pattern. That was the discussion we had at the Applications Unlimited days, and the Oracle representatives were very, very open to that. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, but still, that's the information. 25.5 is out. Lots of cumulative changes that we discussed. And yeah, if you want to learn more about the OpenUI training that we have remastered, then yeah, you know where to find me.